All right, test, test, test. Can you hear me? Can you hear me? Put something in the chat and then I'll know if you can hear me. My friends, we're live. Hey, Homolemo, how are you, sir? Excellent. Let me set up here. And I'll probably trim this part out at the beginning. And we'll start our show. Yes, Noor, Ahmad, we're just getting started here, friends. All right. I'll trim the part out before. This is live, but I'm going to do a live review here. We're going to try to do this well. Thank you, Bodan. Appreciate you. All right. Hey, friends. I'm Scott Hanselman, and what I'm going to be doing is a live review of some e-ink tablets. Recently, I sold some Dogecoin, and I bought myself a Remarkable 2 e-ink tablet. These are about $3.99. They are rather expensive, but they're pretty cool, and they look like this. It is an e-ink tablet if you've ever used a Kindle. And they're about $3.99, plus you have to buy the pen, so they're not cheap. This is not a toy that you would, buy on a whim, but I'd been thinking about it for about a year, and I finally decided to do it. So we're going to talk about the Remarkable 2. Oops, I just dropped my pen. And that pen magnets to the, well, that's embarrassing. That pen actually magnets to the side of the Remarkable. There it is. It's me that's clumsy, not the magnet. The magnet's actually pretty strong. Then, as I was buying the Remarkable 2, what happened was the folks at ONYX Books sent me some ONYX books. They sent me an ONYX Book Note Air, which is an e-ink tablet from our friends at ONYX. And this is another e-ink tablet. This tablet uses Android, and it's got a beautiful screen as well as a case. And these are often compared, right? Because this is a 10.3-inch tablet, and this is often compared with the Remarkable slightly larger tablet. Okay, this is not Android. This is a Remarkable 2. It does not use Android, and this is the Android operating system there's some custom software from ONYX, and you can also put on the Google Play Store. Talk about that. Those are often compared together as being two e-ink tablets that you want to see. All right. Then they also sent, because they're the ONYX company, this one here, which I think is quite interesting. This is actually a color e-ink tablet. That's color e-ink, which I had never seen before in person. Now, this is a much smaller tablet. This is the ONYX Book Nova 3 compared to the larger 10-inch ONYX Book Note Air. So I don't think that it's fair to compare the Remarkable, which is basically a replacement for paper, with this color tablet. But it's fascinating to see color e-ink in person, and I thought you'd want to see that. Those are, of course, again, Android tablets that are pretty cool. So what we'll do is we'll start by looking at the Remarkable and then the Note Air, the ONYX Book Note Air. And I'm doing all of this live. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to do it like this. And this is cool. So I set up a camera over here. So you'll see me like this. And I can show you the products up close so you can see what's going on. And I think that'll be very flattering to the products. And then you can make the decision that works for you. All right. So first, we'll start by looking at the screen on the Remarkable 2. So the Remarkable 2 is not Android. It's a custom operating system. And when you open it up, it is e-ink. Okay. And this pops out of this little sleeve quite nicely. Look at this. It's really a lovely device. It's quite thin. It's really nothing. It's very light, much lighter and thinner than even the thinnest iPad. But it's not an iPad, right? You don't watch movies on this. This is meant to be a notebook. This is for writing. The Remarkable company, they talk about this being a writing device. It's actually kind of interesting. You can't tell the difference between the front while it's asleep and the back. When I push the button, though, where's the button? usually I just open it up, the device wakes up. There you go, it's on the top. Okay, so now we'll switch back over to here and we'll see that screen close up. Look at this e-ink display. It's just gorgeous. So if we go and we take our Remarkable pen, this is the Remarkable marker. This is the one that includes the eraser here. You see this little press here? That depresses a little bit and you can erase. And we'll say, make a quick sheet right here, okay? And then you have a choice of templates. The template that I've chosen here is one with a grid, but you can pick any template that makes you happy. Look how high res this is. They're just gorgeous. You can organize your life, storyboards. I use the planner and the checklist is both very nice. So if I go and say like the day planner, you can see my day. Now I'm going to put it really, really close here because I really want you to see that quality. And then I'll just write. And you look at, I'm a left-handed person, by the way. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to manually adjust the focus on my Logitech camera here to make sure that you can see as close as I can on this particular screen, because e-ink displays are just gorgeous. Look at that. Okay, it's a very nice display. It's very fast. This is important. I want you to see with the Remarkable, which again is intending to replace paper, very fast. I'm not ever feeling like there's any lag. And then when I flip it over and I erase, the erasing actually happens when you let go. So right now I'm erasing, and when I lift it, it goes away for real. Now when I do something like this and then press select, I can then select this, move it around, scale it, copy paste it, whatever. Or select the whole thing, delete it, whatever. So I've gone in here and also uploaded some PDFs. And that's really where I think that the Remarkable device shines, is PDF. So this is a PDF here. And I'm going to actually zoom in. Notice how I'm able to use pinch to zoom. So you're looking at a PDF here, and this is a PDF on black hole spectral analysis of black hole transients. This was sent by my friend. So this is like a real PhD level type paper. Looks beautiful, easily readable, and then when you zoom in on it, of course, you're getting a really nice screen. You notice that e-ink display turning black as it transitions, and it's basically seeing that enough of the dots on the screen have cleared that it feels the need to go and clear that up, right? So it's going to flash black, and then it makes sure that there's no ghosting. E-ink displays have a problem with ghosting. You don't really see ghosting on the Remarkable, which has been really nice. So when I go and look at PowerPoints or panel documents or make a notebook, I've never seen any real ghosting. It's quite fast. Here's an actual book. Here's a compiler design book. This is a PDF. It'll always clean the screen, so you never see ghosts. And then if you zoom in, you see right there, it looks quite nice. And at this point, of course, you can highlight, you can erase, you can do whatever. See the ghosting? It cleaned it right away. So that's really significant. So question in the chat here, PDFs with images, right? So let's go and do that. Let's talk about PDF with images. Let's look at the whole thing and then scroll back, and then we'll look at an image on the front here. So here is the cover page of Compiler Design in 3 with an image. Now, some folks in the chat are saying they don't like e-ink flickering, right? This is not for watching videos. E-ink is a very specific kind of thing. What they're doing is they're flipping particles over to make that display. Some people like it because there's no backlight here. The Remarkable 2 has no backlight. It is visible in the full sunlight. I think it looks like paper. It is black and white, exactly. Angelica's saying there in the chat it's black and white. Now, if you just showed up on the stream, in a moment, we are going to show the ONYX color e-ink. So color e-ink does exist. Color e-ink is a thing. Now Andy is asking how much the Remarkable weighs. Let's go and do a split screen here. And we'll take a look at the specs. On the Remarkable specifically. Specifications here. 10.3 inch, weighs about 400 grams, so less than a pound. You'll notice that I'm holding it here with just fingers. So this doesn't really weigh anything. It's less than 5 millimeters thick, and it weighs less than a pound, about 400 grams. So it's really, really nothing. It's kind of lovely. Raymond is asking, does it support ebook extensions? I haven't had any issues uploading any books. There's actually some software here. You can upload ebooks. You can upload PDFs. You see how the color PDF showed up in black and white. So this is the same view. I've got here the Remarkable desktop software next to the Remarkable device. I just upload a PDF and it automatically shows up here. And then any of my items or my notebooks that I want to send to myself, I can just say, because it has Wi-Fi, send to me, and then that PDF shows up. And then I can go and look at any of those, as well as any notebook that I've already written on. I can see my to-do list, right? You can see here, e-ink, tablets, video, and blog is one of my to-dos. I can view those, zoom in on the ink from the app. So there's a nice app here. Now, some people argue that the Remarkable doesn't have an open enough SDK or an open enough thing. It doesn't support OneNote directly. Dennis is asking if it supports OneNote. That's the #1 complaint. There's a very strong community that is working on different techniques. There's some cool hacks where people have made it so you write something on a Remarkable and it shows up on a website. I think if we keep putting pressure on the company, they'll make an API. But for now, this is not an Android tablet. It is paper. It does PDFs. It does ebooks. It has no web browser. There's about 8 gigs of space there. I'm not even remotely filled. What do I have here? I've used 0.42 gigs of space. So it's never going to fill up. So that's interesting. But again, no headphones, no movies. It is paper. Incredibly thin, very nice, has the marker, and it snaps to it. I'll see if you, this has a flat section. There it is. It's quite strong, not down here. You can see it, boom, right there. Then you take the leather folio, magnets in right there, and it's very nice. Okay, so it does not have a backlight. Does not have a backlight. Looking at the questions here, works great with PDFs. It is definitely not a tablet for playing games. The Wi-Fi exists for updating the software and for taking your annotated PDFs and moving them around. Personally, I haven't seen it be too big of a deal. I use Microsoft Office documents. I can go save as PDF. I save them, I drag them into Remarkable with the import function, which is right here. And then it shows up here. But it is a passive pen. Good question there. And there's a pen with an eraser and a pen without an eraser. Okay, so that's the Remarkable. So let's switch down back here again. We'll just look at that again. It's got a beautiful leather case. There's the close-up of the pen. You can see the eraser at the end there, and then the flat edge is where the magnet is. Okay. This is just sitting inside of this container. It's just very nice. It really, you know, almost feels like an Apple device. It is a beautiful device. Okay. And I've been using that to take notes. Now, let's move on to the books. The Books Note. The Books Note Air is a 10.3 inch tablet. So if we compare that to the Remarkable, you see that it's just about same size, but it's thicker, a little heavier. But here's where there's a fundamental philosophical difference here, is that this Books device is an Android tablet. And that's the thing. That's the thing. So if we switch over here again, split our screen, comparing the Remarkable, again, not a Android tablet, to the Books Air. Which is Where'd the purchase button go? And I've seen this at different prices here. Books Air Note. Almost 500 bucks. Okay, so you'll be into it for 500 bucks when you're done with this, $3.99 plus your pen, and you're looking at 500 bucks for this. So they are kind of comparable there. All right. Again, this was I paid for the Remarkable myself. I bought that. This was sent to me as a review, and as with all things that are donated to me for review, it will be given to a school for kids to play with, like a charter school for education. So I won't make any money on this, and I won't keep this. So let's switch back to here, and let's look at this books. So similar e-ink screen. Now you can see it's actually jumping around because I've got the rotation feature on, and because it's an Android, I can actually pull it down and turn off auto rotate if I wanted to, and then put it in a particular mode. All right, because it's Android, you're actually pulling it down, say auto rotate, put it the way I want it, turn it off. Okay. Now this e-ink screen, also a beautiful screen. Okay. But this is an interesting thing. This is an Android device with the full apps that you can have. So I've gone and enabled the Play Store. So here's the Play Store. Now it's not an official Android approved device. So you do get a warning when you enable the Play Store on the ONYX Book. There's a little warning. You sign in, and then it says, hey, Google says, hey, this isn't an official whatever, and then you can enable the Play Store. But when I go and click on that, you'll notice that that's the real Play Store. I can download any Android application. But to the points that we were hearing in the chat, we definitely see some flickering, and a lot of people don't like that. Some folks are saying I should just give these things away. Yeah, we should probably do that. But I've installed, to see if it was possible, OneNote. So this is literally Microsoft OneNote on the device. However, you can see it's too slow to really be usable. You see how there's a pause? Scribble, 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 pause. So I don't recommend using OneNote for this purpose. Instead, there are apps that it comes with for taking notes that are far better. These are some of the notes that it comes with, some of the apps that it comes with. I've installed Office and Word on it because I just wanted to see. But if we go to the actual Notes app and open up their Notepad application, then you can see that it's quite, actually that was a shape. Let me switch out of shapes, switch to a pen. You can see that the Books Air is quite fast. You'll see people drawing on it. So you can see that that Android layer and this native application are definitely a lot different. Now here's where things go completely different. You see this weird little floating dot down here? This is custom for the Book Air. And at this point, it becomes an entirely different universe because you can go and turn on lights, you can change how it refreshes, you can change how the device behaves. And when let me see which one of them was the light. One of these buttons changes the backlight. Here we go. Look at that. Having a backlight is really dramatic. You see also there's color warmth, there's temperature and warmth. So there's the light. And then I can go here and I can pick the warmth. That's more of an orange. And this is more of a blue. So that's where things become totally different. You can see the light there. So this is an Android tablet, but it is a little bit heavier. So right now, I've got this in the case that it came with. And if we compare the two, it's kind of a push. Okay, I'll stack them right on top of each other. You know, it really just depends on how picky you are. Now, if you want to get really picky, the Remarkable is just less than 5 millimeters, and the Note Air is just less than 6 millimeters. So you're looking at about 1 millimeter different, but they are pretty slick. The question is really, are you a writer who doesn't want distractions, you don't want a web browser, you don't want anything like that? Or are you looking for an Android tablet with the beautiful e-ink screen, which also gives you that benefit of that backlight? And that backlight really is different because you cannot use the Remarkable in the dark. It's just not going to happen. But with this, you can. And it is an Android tablet, so it's going to be familiar with you. See how I just pulled that top menu down? I can turn off the backlight. We'll switch back down here and we'll look at that screen again. So if we look at a book on the Books Air, like an ebook, I'm still learning the gestures here, like Shakespeare. You've got the Books Reader, you've got the nice text, it'll do EPUB. You can also install the Amazon Kindle application. Because it's Android, you can install anything, okay? And then you've got that little floating dot there. And for those of you who have feelings about the refresh, there is a manual refresh button. And there's also a how do you want me to refresh conversation here. You can really adjust the screen. The Remarkable has no screen adjustment. It is an appliance. This is basically coming from overseas, and as such has some kind of really persnickety settings, I have found. But it also gives you basically absolute control. It's effectively a rooted Android tablet, and as such you can do anything. So if we pull it out of its container, if we pull the Note Air, I'm actually going to pull it out of the plastic. There you go. And I'm going to pull the Remarkable out of the plastic as well. And I'm going to put them next to each other. So here we are, not the plastic rather, but the leather case. Both metal, both incredibly thin. This is more kind of A4. This is a little more square. Let me change the screen here. This is a little more like a notebook, like piece of paper. You put them next to each other. They're like this. Screens are gorgeous, really not a problem with either screen. It's really more of a philosophical issue here, right? Oh, looks like look at that. The Remarkable just updated itself. I didn't even see that. So it looks like it just took an update while I was sitting here. It just updated to 2.8. So they're always updating. Same thing happens with the books. The books automatically updates as well. You can see there's a firmware update there. They've got the library, they've got the books store, which is their store of books. These are all free books. Then when you click on apps, you have the option to go to the Play Store, which I've done here. And then of course, I've even installed Word. It has a full web browser called Neo Browser as well. But there is more ghosting, I would say, on the books. Let's actually go to Hanselman and let's see what this looks like. Hanselman.com. Oops. .com. Cookie warning. Now that's an interesting thing. So the books also has an option to make more white your site. So basically it'll take things with low contrast and it will change them. So you see you can't see here and you can't see there. It will go and change that, and you can decide if you want it to go and whiten the app's background. So if I do that, you can see that the look of my site changes and things that could become white go white. I've noticed that makes some applications look considerably different, particularly ones like Microsoft Office. A couple questions in the chat here. Battery life. Indeed, the Remarkable 2 has a ridiculous battery life. It's quite a long battery life because it doesn't do anything. It is electric paper. I have seen the books go for a couple of days. It is definitely an Android tablet. It does more. It can play games. It even has a video mode and things like that. It has a browser. They both recharge over USB-C, and they both recharge very fast. So I think they are comparable in that respect. It really comes down to whether you want it to be a little bit more open or not. Now, here's where things get interesting. We've been talking about the black and white books. We've already talked about the Remarkable, which we appreciate. Here's where things go off the rails, and I think it's worth pointing out. Color e-ink is a thing now, and I just don't know how I feel about it. So let's push aside the Book's Note Air, and then let's look at the Book's Nova 3 here. This is a smaller tablet. You can see if I put it on top, it's quite a bit smaller. And I'm going to go ahead and turn back on my autofocus because that's annoying. Beautiful color screen. Let me turn it on. Again, this is from our friends at ONYX. This is also an Android tablet, comparable to like one of the Kindle Android tablets or something like that. And this is, however, a color display. Let's get a zoom in on that. It still has the flickering that you expect from an e-ink device. Same interface that we've seen before. So we'll hit on apps. I also took this one and I put on the same apps. I added Kindle, but I also went and I added Comixology, which is a comic book app. And this comic book app here is from Amazon, and it'll let me see books that are in color. So look at that. So let's look at a comic book that's in color here. My Books. You'll see there is flickering. I think I installed Scott Pilgrim. See, it's quite fast. Now, here's the thing that's interesting, though. It's fast as a device, but the screen is slower because it's e-ink. But it is color. Now, there is some light ghosting. So you can see right here, Scott Pilgrim from the previous frame. Now, I can force a refresh, and that goes away. And you can decide how many screen pages go by before it refreshes. Is it 10? Is it 100? Is it whatever? You know, do you have it decide how dirty the screen gets with ghosting before it updates? But it's really quite nice. Isn't that lovely? It's not super vivid, but it still is an interesting use for color, as our friends are agreeing. And then you can see that it refreshes and looks really nice. Now, as a comic book app, I would say that the colors are a little bit muted. Right? Now, that is, their Scott Pilgrim is a certain style, certainly. We can try, you know, something a little more Marvel, right? So we'll go and we'll download a Marvel comic here. See a little bit of ghosting here, just mild, but it isn't, you know, it is doing its thing. The ghosting doesn't cause it to be slower. It's an Android tablet. It's going quite well. You can see the little bit of ghosting there as it's currently downloading. This is inside of the very nice little case that it came with. Real similar case to the Note Books Air here as well. There are no viewing angle restrictions. That's another thing that's nice about e-ink. Look at that angle. You can see it from really anywhere. So that's the thing about e-ink. If you don't mind the flickering as it goes, and you don't mind the occasional ghosting, you're getting an extraordinary color screen. So this is a very sophisticated book. This is a Fantastic Four meets Spider-Man thing here. So let's go and find something. Here's a red. Let's go and do this. I'm going to tap, and we'll go into guided view. So there's some blues. And here are some reds. It's pretty nice. Totally viewable in sunlight. It's not deeply vivid, particularly in the area of the greens. And there you go, there's a nice one. There's some green, some blue, and some red on the same screen. But e-ink, that is color, is a thing, and it's pretty freaking cool. So I wanted you to see that and compare. So that device is the ONYX Book. That is the Nova 3. I believe that is... Let's see if I can find that here. Nova, there we go. Nova 3 color. Okay, so all of these devices, we've got 3 devices that we've looked at now, friends, okay? We've seen the color Nova 3. We have seen the black and white Books 10.3-inch Book Air, Note Air, Books Note Air. And then we've seen the remarkable 2, not an Android tablet, but rather electric paper. All of them are about $400. So that's the thing. You have to think about what kind of device you want. Question in the chat there, what version of Android are they based on? So I'm more of an iPhone person. Let's go and find out. So if I go into the device, let's go back to our split screen. You can help me find that out. Let's go into the settings here. And where would I find that, my friends? This is, I believe, some kind of a custom version. I have heard some concerns about the GPL. Some people have said Android version 10. There's your answer, Android version 10. I have not found more details about this. I have heard concerns that the folks at Books have not done their good work by releasing their code into the GPL. I have not dug into that, but I think that that is a concern if that is important to you, and it's something to think about, because there is some GPL code in here, so be sure to think about that. So there's your Book 10, your remarkable 2, and your color Nova Book 3, all about $400. None of these things are cheap. These are not toys. Definitely think about the investment that you're going to make in devices like that. Once again, I will show you the devices on the desktop. We've got our color e-ink Nova. This device comes with a pen that sits like this, no magnet. And then you've got a little case. Okay. Then the larger Books Air snaps into this plastic case. And it's also worth pointing out, because it is an Android tablet, it can sit like this, which might be attractive to a writer. And because it is an Android tablet, it'll work with any Bluetooth keyboard. So I would consider something like this, a foldable Microsoft keyboard. And now you've got a writer's device that weighs effectively nothing and folds into effectively nothing and is comparable with a high-end iPad. This is all about the e-ink. Why would you buy this? Andy is asking, what's the one line that convinced you to buy a device like this? Do you love e-ink? This is the battle of the e-ink tablets. I love the e-ink display. I feel at peace when I am looking at my notes, when I am reading my notes on an e-ink display. I find it to be extremely clear, extremely easy to read. It's super high res. It's fast, fast, fast. It's satisfying to write on an e-ink device. If you have a large PDF collection, if you like to read scientific papers, if you like to get your ebook collection in PDF, that is about those things. Remarkable, as we see also in the chat, has some very nice templates, but it's important to note that what you're talking about is a $400 device that is a gorgeous single tasking device. It is great electric paper, or a slightly more persnickety but much more versatile Android device that can do anything an Android device can do. But then your note taking is going to be limited to the different choices that you have either on Android or the choices that come out of the box for this. I have found that the Android subsystem on the books does not, particularly in OneNote, draw as fast as I would like, but I was very much impressed that I was able to actually run full-on Microsoft Word, the Android version of Word, on this device. That has been super, super helpful. So which tablet is more programmable? If you want to write apps, this is an Android tablet. You can write apps. It'll run any Android apps based on Android 10. Then we come finally to the Books Nova 3 color e-ink display, also about $400, Android 10. Then the only thing to think about is, you're not going to watch Netflix on this. You can, but the screen can't do it. Could you run Teams? You could, but there's no camera, right? This is not meant to do that. This is e-ink. This is all about e-ink. So something to think about. These are great devices. I want to say thank you very much to our friends at Books for giving me review versions of these. We've got the Books Nova 3 Color, the Books Note Air 10.3 inch, and then the Remarkable 2, which I bought with my Dogecoin, my own money. This will probably be $1 million device in the future, right here. A couple quick more questions here just before I sign off. There were some questions. Is the backlight on for the color? Yes, that backlight is on. So that's a great point. Why don't we take a look at that with that backlight off, just to make sure that we're being intellectually honest with ourselves. Turn that off. So the backlight is now off. And we can look at our color and see what that looks like. So that is lit only with the light that I'm using. And again, because it's e-ink, you can see my fingerprints. You can see how the light bounces off. All right, friends. Thank you very much for hanging out with this live review of the devices that we've been looking at. If you just joined us or you want a review, we looked at the Books devices. You can go to books.com, BOOX.com. And then, of course, the Remarkable 2. And we compared all of these different devices, the ONYX Book, the ONYX Book Air, and the Nova 3. Thank you very much. Please subscribe and share this with your friends, and I'll see you later.